Welcome to the lecture series on information theory and coding. So this is lecture number 14, module number 2. Okay, in previous class we were discussing about this coding of instantaneous codes using the given parameters. So given parameters will be number of symbols and their lengths, their corresponding lengths. So using that given data, we have seen how to design multiple instantaneous codes which is satisfying the Kraft inequality and also the prefix property, right? So in yesterday's class, we have seen many problems regarding this Kraft inequality and prefix property. So today, we will start with the next one, Shannon's first theorem, okay, for noiseless coding.
No.
I'm going to share the PDF for today's class. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Shannon's first theorem for noiseless coding. So Shannon suggested that the length Li can be known for the given code or the symbol by using this equation. So Li, the length for that code word is equal to log 1 by pi to the base r. So this base r depends on the number of symbols in the code alphabet. Okay, so we have discussed about this code alphabet in the previous classes. So code alphabet represented by X in general. So we'll be having the symbols which are used for the coding purpose. For the binary, it is 0 and 1. So these are the symbols we are using for the coding. Okay. So in general, we represent it as R. That is the number of symbols. Number of symbols in this code alphabet. So Shannon is saying that larger the value of the probability of the symbol, okay, smaller will be the value of Li. So as the probability of the symbol increases, we are going to use less number of digits or bits in the code word, and a fewer coding digits will be sufficient. So in early classes, we have actually seen one example regarding this same statement. So where we have seen the two probabilities with two symbols. And in the first case, we have seen the first symbol is having the high probability and the second symbol is having low probability. So the length for such kind of examples varies. Okay, so here we are talking about the variable length coding. Okay, variable length coding. So that variable length coding depends on the probability, symbol probability with which it is emitted from the source. So Shannon's first theorem states that given a code alphabet with R number of symbols, given the code alphabet with R number of symbols and source alphabet of Q number of symbols, we have a source alphabet S is equal to some symbols are there, S1, S2 up to SQ. The average length of the code words can be made as close to HR of S. What is this H of S? What is this H of S?
Entropy.
Entropy, right? H of S is the entropy, but this R represents entropy for the R symbols. Entropy of the source for R number of symbols used for the coding. Okay. So given a code alphabet with R symbols and source alphabet with Q symbols, the average code word length, the average length of the code word can be made as close to h of s, that is the entropy, which is nothing but the average information content by the source, as possible by increasing the extension. By increasing the extension, we have already covered this extension, how to calculate the extension, right? So in other words, it is stated that by increasing the value of n, which is nothing but the extension value, nth extension in general, okay? So the quantity ln by n, so this ln is the average length for the nth extended source. Hello? Hello? So in general, we use L as the average length of the basic source. Average length of the code words for the basic source. Okay, for the basic source it is L. But if for the extension we are using, we are specifying this average length of the code words, then we represent it as Ln. Okay. So here the Shannon says that by increasing the value of the n, the quantity Ln by n, this n is nothing but the extension, can be reduced to as small a value as we wish, but we can never reduce it below the average information content for that source h of s. Okay. So this first theorem by Shannon is about the length of the code words. Okay. So which says that in general, it says that length decreases with increase in the symbol probability. Is that understood? Up to this point? Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
And about this, we will see that with an example. Okay, and for all values of extension n, it is true that always we will get this relation. The average length for the nth extension is always less than or equal to average length of the basic source. So this L is for the basic source, and this Ln by n is the average length of the extended source. Okay, if it is a second extended source, then L2 by 2. Second extension of the basic source. Okay. So this is about the Shannon's first theorem, which is relating to the length, average length of the code words for the given code. So we will see that with an example later. So now coming to the first encoding algorithm for our syllabus. So this is the first encoding algorithm, Shannon's encoding algorithm, or we also call it as a binary encoding algorithm. Okay. So this encoding algorithm is for designing the codes for the given symbols and for the given probabilities. So here you will be provided with the source number of source symbols, and you will be provided with respective probabilities. And with that given data, you need to build the optimal code. And what is an optimal code? Optimal code is the code which is instantaneous and which is having the lowest possible length, average length for that code. Optimal code is a instantaneous code which is having the lowest average length. Okay. So note down these steps. We will use these steps for later designing the different codes for the given problem. So first step in this encoding algorithm. So this is an algorithm which is having some steps, and we need to follow those steps to design an instantaneous code. Okay, for the given data, for given number of symbols and for given probabilities. Okay, so these this is consisting of a few steps. So note down these steps first. Then we will use and then we will understand how it is going on, how the algorithm follows, and how we are designing the uh, instantaneous code using this encoding algorithm. Okay, so note down these steps. So first step, list the source symbols in the order of non-increasing probabilities. So they will be provided with source symbols and probabilities. So first step is to arrange them in the non-increasing order. Okay, that means decreasing order. We need to arrange all the symbols having their probabilities in the decreasing order. So that is the first step. Now coming to the step number 2, compute these sequences. We need to compute these sequences. What is that sequence? Alpha 1. Alpha 1 is equal to 0. We need to start these sequences with the alpha 1 is equal to 0. Next, alpha 2. Alpha 2 is equal to P1. P1 is the nothing but the probability for the symbol 1. For symbol 1, S1, we have the probability P1. So that probability here we are placing. So alpha 2 is equal to P1, which is nothing but we are writing like this, P1 plus alpha 1. As we have alpha 1 is equal to 0, so we will end up with P1 only. So alpha 2 is equal to P1 plus alpha 1. Now alpha 3. Alpha 3 is equal to P2 plus alpha 2. P2 plus alpha 2. And what is this alpha 2? Alpha 2 is P1. So here this is the equation that we get. P2 plus P1 is the alpha 3. Next, alpha 4. Alpha 4 is P3 plus alpha 3. P3 plus alpha 3. And what is this alpha 3? Alpha 3 is P2 plus P1. P2 plus P1. So that we have substituted, and this is the equation. P3 plus P2 plus P1. Okay. Next, so this we are going to calculate these sequences up to Q plus 1 values. Alpha Q plus 1 values, which is equal to, so here by looking at the above equation, we can write the equation for the Q plus 1. So alpha 4 is equal to what? P3 plus P2 plus P1. So alpha Q plus 1 will be P of Q, which is 4 minus 1 is 3. So in the same way, Q plus 1 minus 1 is PQ. So PQ plus Q minus 1. So we go on reducing up to we get the P1. And we get this by using this equation. PQ plus alpha Q is the equation for alpha Q plus 1. Alpha Q plus 1 is equal to PQ plus alpha Q, but alpha Q is this value. Alpha Q is PQ minus 1 plus PQ minus 2 and up to plus P1. So this is the step number 2. We need to compute these sequences in order after arranging the symbols with their decreasing probabilities. Okay, so this is step number 2. Coming to the step number 3. Determine the smallest integer value of Li using the Kraft inequality equation. We already know the equation for Kraft inequality, 2 raised to Li should be always greater than or equal to 1 by Pi for all values of I. Okay. So for all values of I, in the sense it indicates the number of source symbols. It indicates the number of source symbols. So we need to determine the smallest possible value using trial and error method. Okay, using trial and error method, we are going to determine the smallest integer value for this Li. Okay, so well, Li is the length of that code word for that symbol. For that P1 symbol, P2 symbol, P3 symbol. Okay, that means P1 is the probability of S1, P2 is the probability of S2. So in the same way, for S1, S2, S3, S4, we are going to separately calculate, separately determine this Li value, smallest integer, smallest possible integer by using trial and error method. So that is the third step. Now, fourth step. So expand this decimal number that we have got for alpha in binary form. So alpha here, after this addition, after calculating these sequences, you will get a decimal value for these alphas, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4 up to alpha Q plus 1. So now we need to expand that value into binary form up to Li places, which we have calculated in the previous step. So you need to expand this decimal number in binary form up to these places, Li places, for that particular symbol, neglecting the expansion beyond Li places. So once that Li places is reached, you can stop expanding the decimal number into the binary form. Okay, because only that much length of the code word can be we can specify for that symbol. So that's why we are neglecting the expansion beyond Li places. We will see that how it is done and how these steps are followed. We will see that with an example. So this is the step number 4. We need to expand the decimal number for the alpha value in terms of binary for Li places. So next step number 5, remove the binary point to get the desired code. For that symbols, we are calculating, we are getting the code words, and the collection of the code words, we will get the desired code. So remove the binary point to get the desired code. So these are the 5 steps. Note down these steps, and we are going to use this in this example, in the next example. So any doubts till now? So if you have any doubts, ask me. So any doubts? No doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, shall we start with the problem for this encoding algorithm, Shannon encoding algorithm? Okay, take down this example. The first problem on this Shannon encoding algorithm. Apply Shannon's encoding algorithm to the following set of messages and obtain code efficiency and redundancy. So these are the messages given. 5 messages, M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, and these are the probabilities. So note down these values. Okay, what is the step number 1? List the source symbols with their decreasing probabilities. First, we need to list the source symbols according to their decreasing probabilities. So which will come first here? Which symbol will come first? Whose probability is larger compared to the others in this given set of 5 symbols? Which symbol is having the highest probability? Which symbol is having the highest probability?
Yes?
3 by 8. 3 by 8?
3 by 8.
I have already informed you to keep the calculators with you and note these values, write all these questions and notes in your own separate book. Okay, I have already told you to maintain a separate book and always keep the calculator with you. Okay, so which is having the highest probability? M5, right? And after that,
M4.
M4. So M4 is second place. Okay, next.
M3.
M3. Next.
M1.
M1. And next M2.
M2.
Okay. So this is the first step to arrange the given symbols in the decreasing order of their probabilities. So M5, M4, M3, M1. So this is M1 and M2. And one more thing, I have converted these values to the common denominator value. Okay, so that it will be easy for the calculation using the calculators. Okay. and even without calculators. So I have converted these fractions into some common denominator fraction. So 1 by 8 is nothing but 6 by 16. 1 by 16 is 1 by 4 is nothing but 4 by 16. 3 by 16, and 1 by 8 we have converted it to 2 by 16 and 1 by 16. So what is the next step? To compute the sequences. So where alpha 1 is equal to 0, the first sequence, so keep it as it is, alpha 1 is equal to 0, and next alpha 2 is equal to p1 plus alpha 1, p1 plus alpha 1. So here P1 plus alpha 1. So now P1 is this value. After the rearrangement, P1, this is P2, P3, P4, P5. Okay. So alpha 2 is what? P1 plus alpha 1. And what is P1? 6 by 16 plus alpha 1. Alpha 1 is equal to 0. So 6 by 16 is the answer. And I have converted this into the decimal form. Okay. It is a QY form. We have converted it into the decimal form. Next, alpha 3. Alpha 3 is what? P2 plus alpha 2.
Alpha 2.
Okay. So we have alpha 2 as a 6 by 16 plus P2 4 by 16. 6 by 16 plus 4 by 16, it will be 10 by 16. Okay. 6 by 16 plus 4 by 16, you will get 10 by 16. So this is the decimal value. Next, for alpha 4, so which is nothing but P3 plus alpha 3. So we have alpha 3, this one 10 by 16, and we have P3 3 by 16. So it is 13 by 16, and this is the decimal value that we get for the 13 by 16. Next, for alpha 5, which is nothing but P4 plus alpha 4. And we have alpha 4 as 13 by 16. So here it is 13 by 16 plus 2 by 16, P4. P4 is 2 by 16. So totally 15 by 16. 13 plus 2, 15 by 16, which is this decimal value. And the next one is alpha 6, which is P5 plus alpha 5. So alpha 5 is 15 by 16. So here we have alpha 5. Alpha 5 is 15 by 16. And P5. P5 is 1 by 6. 1 by 6. So total 16. 15 plus 1, 16 by 16. So it is 1. Okay. So this is step number 2. We have calculated all these following sequences. So next, what is step number 3? Determine the smallest integer value of the Li using the Kraft inequality. This is equation. Okay. Use this equation and calculate the possible smallest integer of Li by trial and error. The smallest integer value of Li is found using this equation. For I is equal to 1, let's put I is equal to 1. So this will become 2 raised to L1 for first symbol should be greater than or equal to 16 by 6, 1 by P1. So it is 1 by P1. P1 is 6 by 16. So we are taking the reciprocal of that. So it is 16 by 6. 1 by 6 by 16. So the 6 by 16, taking the reciprocal, we will get 16 by 6. So what you will get 16 by 6? It is 2.66. 2.66. Okay. So now for this value, we need to calculate the lowest possible L1 value. Okay. The smallest value for L of Li which satisfies the above Kraft inequality is 2. So if we take 1, will it satisfy? 2 raised to 1. 2 raised to 1 satisfy ಆಗ್ತದ್ರಿ. 2 raised to 1 is equal to what? It is 2, which is not greater than or equal to 2.66. So go for the higher value. L1 is equal to 2. L1 is equal to 2. So L1 is equal to 2 in the sense we will get 2 raised to 2. Okay, so it is 4, which is greater than this 2.66. So the Kraft inequality is satisfied. So this is the lowest possible value for that first symbol. For I equal to 1, L1 is equal to 2. In the same way, for I is equal to 2, that is the second symbol, S2, for S2. So this is for S1. So for S2, for I is equal to 2, 2 raised to L2 should be greater than or equal to 1 by P2. What is the P2 value? P2 value 4 by 16 or 1 by 4? 1 by 4 or 4 by 16? So 1 by 4 taking the reciprocal, it is 4. So again, if we take L2 as 1, will it satisfy? Will the Kraft inequality satisfy? No, right? So take L2 is equal to 2. You will get 2 raised to 2, which is equal to 4 and satisfies this condition. So the smallest value of L2 is equal to 2. So now for S3, for I is equal to 3, 2 raised to L3 should be now greater than or equal to P3. And what is this P3? 3 by 16. 3 by 16. Taking the reciprocal, we will get 16 by 3. So what is this value? 16 by 3. How much you will get in decimal form? 16 by 3.
5.33.
5.33. 5.33.
5.33. Okay. So what should be the value of this L3, minimum value of this L3, so that this condition should satisfy? It should be greater than or equal to. The smallest value of L3 is equal to 3. If we put L3 is equal to 2. If we substitute L3 is equal to 2, then will this satisfy?
2 raised to 3.
2 raised to 3. Okay. For 2 raised to 2, it is 4. This will not satisfy this condition. So 2 raised to 3. Next, for S4, for I is equal to 4. 2 raised to L4 should be greater than or equal to 1 by P4. 1 by P4. P4 is what? P4 is 1 by 8. 1 by 8. Taking the reciprocal, it is 8. So the smallest value of L4 is again 3. What you will get for 2 raised to 3? How much is this value? 2 raised to 3?
8.
8, right? So 8 is equal to 8. So the condition satisfies. The smallest value for L4 is 3. Next, for S5, for I is equal to 5. Two raised to L5 should be greater than or equal to 1 by 16. 1 by 16. So taking the reciprocal, it is 16. So what should be the value of our L5? It is 4. 2 raised to 4 is equal to what?
16.
2 raised to 4 is 16. So the Kraft inequality satisfies with equality sign. So the smallest value of L5 is 4. So this is the third step. So in the third step, we have calculated the smallest values for L5, satisfying the Kraft inequality. Now coming to the next number, next step, expanding this decimal number that we have got in this alpha calculation. So now we need to convert this into the binary form up to the Li places. Up to the Li places that we have got in the step number 3. Okay. Okay. Step 4. The decimal numbers alpha 1 are expanded in the binary form up to Li places. So in general, alpha 1 is equal to 0. So leave that one. So neglect this. Starting with alpha equal to 2. So this is the value that we have got, 0.375 for alpha 2, 0.375. 0.375. So this is in the decimal form. This is how we represent the number in the different forms. Okay. So we need to convert this into the binary. So how to convert this? We need to convert this decimal number into the binary. So 0.375 into 2. Into 2 because we are converting it into the binary form. Okay. So what you will get? So taking this decimal value and multiplying it by 2. So what you will get?
0.75.
0.75, right? So is there any carry with this value? 0.75. There is no any carry. So the carry is 0. So now 0.75. We'll take this 0.75 and again multiplying it by 2 because of the binary. How much you will get? 1.5.
1.5.
1.5. Okay. So we don't take this value as 1. We will take this as a 0 with the carry 1. So this 1.5. So the decimal point. So before this decimal point, whatever number is there, it is neglected. It is taken as 0 and with the carry. So with the carry 1. Okay. So if you will get 1 here before the decimal point, it will be taken as a carry and we maintain 0 value here. So 0.5 again into 2. So what you will get? 0.5 into 2.
1.
So 0.5 into 2 is 1. That is 1.00. 1.00. So neglecting this value, making it 0 with carry 1 and maintaining the digits after the decimal point as it is. So 0.00 with carry 1. So here again we got the 0 and we will stop here. If we get the 0, we need to stop because 0 into 2 will always 0, right? 0 into anything is always 0. So we will stop here. Once we get a 0 value, we need to stop there. And what is the Li place for this alpha 2? Alpha 2 in the sense it is having the P1 value, right? So P1 plus alpha 1. So for alpha 1, what is the Li value? Li value is 2, right? So we need to take for the 2 places. But I have written here the whole binary form, whole binary number. So later we will convert it into the code using this Li value. Okay. So that will be the next step actually. This step here we are converting this decimal value into the binary form. Okay. So about the length and about the coding we will see in the next step. So for this step we are just converting the decimal value. So here is the decimal value. We have converted that into the binary form. So for the alpha 2. Now for the alpha 3. Alpha 3 is what? 0.625. 0.625. Now convert this into the binary form. How? 0.625, the decimal value, into 2. So if you get greater than 1, then we will use that as a carry. Okay. So 0.625 into 2, it is 1.25. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
0.625. 0.625 into 2 is 1.25. So 1 we will take it as carry and we are maintaining 0.25 here. Again 0.25 into 2. is equal to 0.50. So the carry is 0 here. 0.5 into 2, you will get 1.
1.
So instead of 1, we will use 0.00 and we'll take that as a carry 1. Okay. So now writing the decimal value, and we don't need to expand this further because we got the 0 value here. So there will be no any further extension. So for alpha 3, for this decimal value, we will get this binary numbers. So we need to put one decimal point, and after that, whatever we have got here. So in this fashion, we need to write these carry values in this fashion. From first to the last. 0, 1, 1. In the same way here, 1, 0, 1. Put the decimal point, and after that, whatever you have got, these carry in this fashion, in the lower, from the first calculation to the last calculation. So 1, 0, 1. And this is how we represent the decimal number. Okay. Now alpha 4. Alpha 4 is what? Alpha 4 is 0.8125. So 0.8125 is the decimal value. So we need to convert this into the binary. So 0.8125 into 2. What you will get? 1.625. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
You use the calculator and do
Sir.
the calculation in your own notebook. Okay. In your notebook, you use the calculator and write down these values. 0.8125 into 2, you will get 1.625. So we will take that one as a carry. So with carry 1. So taking this value here, again doing the calculation, 0.625 into 2, what you will get? 1.25. So we take that as 1. So okay. Is it 0.625?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here it is 1. So here it is 1. So I have mistakenly written it as 0 here. So make it as 1. Okay, so this is 1. 1, 1. And next 0.25. 0.25 into 2, you will get 0.5 with carry 0. And 0.5 into 2 will get 1. 1.00. So we'll take that as 1. And 0, 0, there is no any expansion from this point. So alpha 4 in the binary form is dot decimal point 1101. 1101. So similarly for alpha 5. Alpha 5 is what? 0.9375. So 0.9375 the decimal value. So 0.935 to 2, 1.875 with carry 1. 0.875 to 2, that is 1.75 with carry 1. So 0.75 to 2, you will get 1.5. So we take that 1 as carry 1. Okay, next. Excuse me. Next 0.5 to 2, 1.00. We will take that as carry 1, and there is no any further expansion. So for alpha 5, the decimal, sorry, the binary number is dot 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So we are calculating the binary numbers for up to alpha q values. So we don't need for this alpha q plus 1. We will calculate up to the alpha q. Okay. Next, step number 5. Excuse me. Okay, what is the step number 5? Remove the binary point to get the desired code. So first let list these all alpha values in the binary form. So for alpha 1 we have 0. Okay. And the length for the alpha 1 is what? We have calculated the length in step number 3. So length for alpha 1, that is L1, is equal to 2. So we will expand this 0, alpha 1 is equal to 0 for 2 places. For 2 places. And that we will consider as a code word for S1. For S1 it is alpha 1. So expanding this alpha value in the binary form to Li places. So to L1 place, that is 2. So 0 is extended up to 2 places, that is 0, 0. Okay. So in the same way, alpha 2. So this is the binary form, and we need this code word for this symbol S2 up to 2 places. So for I is equal to 2, we have smallest value. For L2 is equal to 2. So L2 is equal to 2. So we will consider only for 2 places, 0 and 1. After the decimal point, by removing the decimal point, we will consider the code word for Li places. So that is what the step number 5 says. Remove the binary point to get the desired code. Remove the binary point to get the desired code. So remove this binary point and get the desired code for Li places. So L2 is 2. So take for only 2 places, 0 and 1. Okay. For alpha 3, this is the binary number. And L3 is equal to 3. So remove this binary point and take for 3 places. So 101 is the code word for S3. Alpha 4, this is the binary number, and L4 is equal to 3. So remove this binary point and take the code word for 3 places. 110, only for 3 places. So 110 is the code word for symbol S4. Alpha 5 is this one, and L5 is equal to 4. And remove this binary point and consider the code word for 4 places. So for 4 places, 1111, this is the code word for symbol S5. So listing all these values, so listing the different symbols, their corresponding probabilities, and the code words and the length that we have calculated in the step number 3. So all are listed here. Okay. So these symbols, again, these symbols are arranged in the list according to their decreasing probabilities. So the same order we are maintaining here for the coding also. So M5 is having the highest probability, so that we will get the lowest length in the code, and the lowest length in the code is 2. Okay. M4, the next highest probability, second highest probability, again getting the same length. So the whatever the symbol may be, if it is having the highest probability, then it will get the lowest length code word possible for that code. Okay. So the possible lowest length is 2 given to the highest probability symbol. So they have asked us to calculate the, what they have asked, to calculate the efficiency and redundancy. Obtain code efficiency and redundancy. And in the previous class, we have already seen the equation for the efficiency, code efficiency, and redundancy. So to calculate the efficiency and redundancy, first we need the average length of the code. So average length is denoted by L, capital L, and is computed using this equation. L is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to Q. Here Q is 5. Okay, Pi into Li. Substitute the values Pi and Li. And these Pi and Li's are the probabilities after the ordering, according to the decreasing order which we have listed. So use that list and calculate the average length. So here the P1 is 3 by 8, P2 is 1 by 4, P3 is 3 by 16, P4 1 by 8, P5 1 by 16. Okay, and the corresponding length. So after the calculation, this is what we get: average length of the code, of this code, of this entire code. We have calculated the average length. Average length is what? 2.4375. The lowest is 2, highest is 4, and the average length is 2.4375 minutes per message symbol. Minutes per message symbol. And to calculate the efficiency and redundancy, we also need this entropy value. So calculate the entropy with already known equation for calculation of this entropy, that is summation I is equal to 1 to Q Pi log 1 by Pi. Substitute the values and you will get the entropy for the basic source. Okay, 3 by 8 is the P1, P by 8, 3 by 8, P2 is 1 by 4, again in the same order. So we are substituting and we are calculating H of S is equal to 2.1085 bits per message symbol. So one thing you need to make out the difference here is the units. Average information content, that is entropy, is having this units, that is bits per message symbol, and the average length of the code word is having minutes per message symbol. Here it is bits per message symbol, it is minutes per message symbol. Here bits because it is the A rate of information or the information content, which is in terms of bits. And in the average length, we have the digits. How many digits are there? So how many digits are there in the word, in the code word? So that's why it is minutes. Okay. Now the code efficiency, eta C is equal to H of S, that is entropy by the average length. Substituting these values, you will get 86.5% efficiency. So the code that we have designed using this algorithm, Shannon's encoding algorithm. So the code which we have designed using this algorithm is providing us this efficiency, 86.5, which is not good actually. We need more efficient codes. We need more efficient codes up to the 100%. Because we don't want any errors while decoding the code words at the receiver side. If we use this code word, if this code is used for the transmission of a large number of symbols, then it is not that efficient. So that is what this number says. And code redundancy, R eta C is equal to 1 minus eta C. Eta C is code efficiency, 1 minus eta C. You will get 0.135, that is 13.5%. So 13.5%. The redundancy means extra, useless. So this is the amount or the percentage of bits or information which is useless in this coding algorithm, in this code. Why it is useless and why we have used this useless information in our transmission of these codes, we will see that while discussing the module 4 and 5. Okay. So is this understood? Any doubts in this problem? Am I audible, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Any doubts in this problem? So in this algorithm, they have provided some 5 steps, and we need to just follow those 5 steps to design a code to get a instantaneous code. And you can observe here the code that we have got is an instantaneous. Okay, it is not an instantaneous. I mean, this is not a singular code. Okay, and it is uniquely decodable code. It is a block code, and it is a non-singular code, and it is instantaneous code. We don't know yet that whether it is an optimal code or not. We don't know that, but this is instantaneous. Okay, this is instantaneous. You can check that. And one more thing, here, Shannon's first theorem. Shannon's first theorem says that the length of the code word for the symbol which is having the highest probability is always less compared to the other symbols which is having the low probability, right? So we can also verify that in this example. You can verify that in this example. The symbol with highest probability will have the lowest possible length, and symbols with lowest probability will have the highest possible length in that code. Okay, and the one more thing that is mentioned in this first theorem is about the length, average length. Average length is what? If we compare the average length and entropy here, so what is the average length? Average length is 2.4, and entropy is what? 2.10, 2.10, 2.43. 2.10, 2.43. Now compare now here. Let's see. So which is greater here in this example? Length is greater than the entropy, right? So length is 2.4, h of s, entropy is 2.10, 2.1 and 2.4. So L is greater and entropy is smaller. So if we take the extensions, if we go on taking the extensions up to the infinity value, okay, of the basic source, in the example we have seen there are 5 symbols in the basic source, S1 to S5. So if we go on extending that up to the infinity level, so the length will become equal to this entropy value, but it will not reduce below h of s. Okay, it will become equal to. But we can never reduce this value below h of s. Okay, so the closer these values, the high efficiency of the code. If you get this average length and entropy as much as close, we will get the higher efficiency. Is that understood? So this is the importance of Shannon's first theorem. I am telling about the importance of this Shannon's first theorem, and you can verify that in any of the problem. Not only in this problem, you can verify that in any of the problem. So these conditions, these statements are very important. So any doubts? Any doubts in this example in today's class?
No, sir.
Okay. We will continue with some more problems in the next class. Okay. And I want to remind you once again that end of the week we will be having a small test on module number 1. So be prepared for that. Okay.